नाम संकीर्तनम यस्य सर्वपाप सर्वपाप प्रणाशनम प्रणामो दुःख समना तम नामामि हरिं परम नाम संकीर्तनम यस्य सर्वपाप प्रणाशनम प्रणामो दुःख समना तम नामामि हरिं परम Translation and purport by disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Or there is no purport. And let's read the word to word meaning then. Nama Sankirtanam, the congregational chanting of the holy names. Yasya, of whom? Sarva Papa, all the sins. Pranashanam, which destroys. Pranam, down. Dukha, misery. Samana, which subdues. Some to him. Namami, I offer my obeisances. Harim, to Lord Hari. Param, the Supreme. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Hari, the congregational chanting of whose holy names destroys all sinful reactions, and the offering of obeisances unto whom relieves all the material suffering. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the 12th canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Hari, the congregational chanting of whose holy names destroys all sinful reactions, and the offering of obeisances unto whom relieves all the material sufferings. Srila Prabhupada explains that the state suffering of the living entity is brought about by two factors. The most common factor, Srila Prabhupada explains, which is reiterated in the Shastras, is ignorance. Avajananti ma muda manushim prakriti mashita. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavitah. So here the Lord is explaining herein the Lord explains that yes, when a person is ignorant When a person doesn't have the real knowledge, the true revelations do not take place. So the person doesn't have the proper revelations. There are no proper revelations. Because the Lord is saying that unless one is having the right kind of mentality, the Lord doesn't reveal himself. Krishna is telling that I reserve the right not to reveal myself to those who are inimical, to those who are envious, to those who are atheistic and demoniac. And that's why we see the qualification to see Krishna and the qualification to see the spiritual world is what? Prema Anjana Churita Bhakti Viloshanena Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yama Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That is the qualification that with eyes which are anointed with love for the Supreme Lord can only one see the Lord. So ignorance is the cause of suffering. Because as long as one is separate from Krishna, there is suffering. Because Krishna is the ocean of happiness. There is no other place where we can get happiness other than Krishna. And therefore, there is going to be colossal suffering without Krishna, being separated from Krishna. Just like when a twig or a leaf is separated from the tree and eventually it dries up. Separate from Krishna, I mean, separate from the tree. But if it is connected to the tree, it continues in a green state, flourishing. Similarly, when we are connected to Krishna, we are flourishing and our hearts are nourished. But when we are disconnected from Krishna, it is a dry state. And the second reason of suffering, Srila Prabhupada explains. So we see that, okay, this state of ignorance can be very easily destroyed. If it is ignorance, ignorance can be very easily destroyed by taking shelter of the Lord and the devotees of the Lord, the Shastras, the devotees of the Lord. Are the radiator of the divine glories of the Lord, which can destroy all kinds of ignorance. So destruction of ignorance is not a big deal. But then there is the other formidable problem, which Srila Prabhupada explains in teachings of Kunti chapter 2. And Prabhupada says that is stubborn obstinacy. The living entity is very stubborn, doesn't want to go to Krishna. So because of that stubbornness, that state of suffering is there. So therefore, it is said that one's arrogance far exceeds one's ignorance. So arrogance or stubbornness far exceeds one's ignorance. And that is why there is this material state of suffering. So therefore, the Lord explains here in the Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Maharaj is explaining that how simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord, this state of material suffering is destroyed. Why? Because one is able to connect to Krishna. The holy name is not different from Krishna. So as soon as Krishna comes, Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai Andhakar. Jahan Krishna taha nahi Maya Adhikar. Krishna is like the sun. Therefore, the holy name is like the sun. And when the sun rises, there is no darkness. When the sun rises, everything is very nice. In the morning also we see, when we start the morning program, it's dark. So it's not a very good thing. The outside doesn't look at all, look anything attractive. When the sun comes, it looks very nice. Everything is very fresh. So Krishna is the sun. And now what about the second problem? So it is explained by the Acharyas that the holy names of the Lord has the power to destroy the stubbornness. To invoke attraction to the Supreme Lord and to destroy the stubbornness and the arrogance of one's heart. Therefore, the Acharyas explain that simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord, the heart starts becoming humble and soft. Simply by chanting the holy names. And mind it, this is not mechanical adjustment. This is chemical reaction. Cannot be reversed. Ah. So this is not a mechanical adjustment like Ashtanga Yoga, that somehow or the other the mind is forced or dunked towards Krishna. No, the state of the heart changes. No, just like in chemical composition, the very constitution, composition, the very configuration it changes. So the chanting of the holy names can bring that about. That our heart from a very dirty state, it starts becoming purer, starts becoming purified. The chemical composition is changing actually. So it's the holy name only which can bring it about. And therefore, holy name can destroy material sufferings. Because the holy name makes the heart humble. So when our heart is humble, we don't stumble. The second aspect which is being brought about in this verse is that the holy name destroys the sinful reactions. Now, sinful reactions have two aspects also. One is packets of misery. So sinful. So one is if a person has stopped a sinful activity, but sinful reactions keep coming, then what is basically happening is that these packets of misery they keep coming. So uh, so then that's like okay, person has taken bath, but now dirt packets are again and again coming and one is becoming dirty. Like somebody comes after taking bath and I remember in Lucknow, now people used to play Holi in a very nasty way. It may not be in general everybody, but at least the locality where we were, it was an ingenious locality. What they would do, they would take keychad and throw on others. Very miserable. Yeah, keychad. Huh? The person is taking bath nice and then somebody comes and throws a bucket of keychad. How does it feel? You know? So the sinful reactions, if they keep coming, then it's this kind of a keychad performance. Very nasty. Like that. So because misery keeps coming. Like that. And now this is one aspect. The other aspect is that sinful reactions is two part. Now what is that? Kutam, bijam, phalon, mukham. So the sinful reactions has two part. One is this misery packets. The other is the proclivity to sin. Top up in the proclivity to sin. That means they increase the top up of kam vasanas. That also, so a performance of sin leads to the proclivity to do more sin. Therefore, a drunkard will become a more intense drunkard. It's not that one becomes satisfied and one is liberated from that clutches of that desire. No, it goes because the proclivity to sin increases. Now that is even more nasty.
Stop it. Definitely stop.
Yeah, but sinful reactions are going to come. So in that reaction, proclivity is also there. So one will find it difficult. That means what? This happens with many sadhakas. They stop sinful activity, but it is external stop. In the mind, the volcanoes are bursting out time to time, like that. Somehow the other one is stopping. So then the point is how long one can stop that way. It's impossible. artificial repression and restraint is impossible. So now the proclivity to sin or top up of sinful propensity is even more nasty. It is not like bathing in kichad. It is like somebody is taken bath and then now a urine person stool is thrown on him. Like the yakshas were throwing on Dhruv Maharaj, Yeah, they were throwing urine person stool, It's not kichad. It's no more kichad. It's stinking, dirty, nasty urine per stool, Liquid beauty. So sinful propensity is that nasty. And mind it, sinful propensity doesn't go away so easily. So sinful propensity is very much hardwired to the sinner. So, and this sinful propensity is ensures that the sinner is entangled for eternity. So therefore, if something can help one get liberated from this sinful propensity, then that is phenomenal and revolutionary. And that is what chanting of the holy names can do. So therefore, the acharyas prescribe that the chanting of the holy name should be the default activity and engagement of the sadhaka. Chanting of the holy names can be the default activity. Why it should be the default activity? Why? Because the holy name brings about purification of the heart at all levels, which other processes of adornments and ritualistic ceremonies will not be able to do that. But it is the chanting of the holy names which can do cleansing at all these levels of blockage and poisoning. So chanting of the holy names is accompanied by transformation. So therefore we will see that when a sadhaka sincerely chants the holy names of the Lord, whatever is needed by the sadhaka, the Nam Prabhu inspires. So what is needed by the devotee to do? So, and this one can practically experience. There are situations when one is very much in turmoil. In such a situation, if one just takes to the chanting of the holy names, then whatever threads and aspects one is missing, or one should inculcate, the chanting inspires. Like chanting will inspire one to take shelter and discuss with devotees and take guidance. Chanting will inspire one to read, to hear, to approach the spiritual master. So the chanting of the holy names is very powerful. And therefore, the default activity of a sadhaka should be chanting the holy names of the Lord. We can include the holy glories of the Lord along with the holy names. That is okay. Both have the same effect. Both are not different from Krishna. The holy glories of the Lord, the holy names of the Lord. But that should be our default activity. So therefore, when we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, we are embracing the Supreme Lord. That is why we see that our lives should be tuned in such a way that always there is chanting of the holy names and the holy glories of the Lord, chanting and hearing. That is life of a devotee. That is liberated life beyond the clutches and entanglements of the mind and the senses. So let's try to see and scroll through this. So this 13th chapter in the 12th canto is talking about the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we see these glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam ultimately culminate in the chanting of the holy names. Because the chanting of the holy names of the Lord is the most powerful. Because we see that any terrific performance culminates in the most punching call for action. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the acme of terrific performances, and the acme of the best gift which the humanity can ever get. And Bhagavatam's call for action is culminating in chanting of the holy names. And that's how powerful the chanting of the holy names are. So there are 23 verses in that chapter. Maybe we'll spend a few minutes just scrolling through and musing over the verses in glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. Because I believe we have discussed 4 or 5 till now. 12, right?
Yes, good.
Yeah, I think no. In total, I think we have discussed 4 or 5 verses out of these 23. So let's try and see. Maybe let's go to the translations. 13. Suta Goswami said, this is a Suta Goswami, it's not Sukadev Goswami, it's Suta Goswami. And to that personality whom Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Rudra, and the Marutas praise by chanting the transcendental hymns and reciting the Vedas with all their corollaries, Padakramas, and Upanishads, to whom the chanters of the Samveda always sing, whom the perfected yogis see within their minds after fixing themselves in trance and absorbing themselves within him, and whose limit can never be found by any demigod or demon. Unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead, I offer my humble obeisances. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as Lord Kurma, a tortoise, his back was scratched by the sharp-edged stones lying on the massive, whirling Mount Mandara. And this scratching made the Lord sleepy. The Lord was feeling very cozy, so he was feeling sleepy. You know, many times in Bhagavatam also feel very cozy, comfortable vibrations, so feel sleepy. May you all be protected by the winds caused by the Lord's breathing in his sleepy condition. Ever since that time, even to the present day, the ocean tides have imitated the Lord's inhalation and annihilation by piously coming in and going out. Yeah, so when we see ocean tides, we can remember Lord Kurmadev. Now please hear a summation of the verse length of each of the Puranas. Then here are the prime subject and purpose of the Bhagavad Purana and the proper method of giving it as a gift, the glories of such gift giving, and finally the glories of hearing and chanting this literature. The Brahma Purana consists of 10,000 verses, the Padma Purana is 55,000, and Vishnu Purana is 23,000. This looks like book distribution scores. Shiva Purana is 24,000. Bhagavatam is 18,000. So the Narad Purana is 25,000 verses, Markandeya Purana 9,000, Agni Purana 5,400. Bhavishya Puran 14,500, and the Brahma Vaivarta Puran 18,000, Linga Puran 11,000, Varaha Puran contains 24,000 verses, and the Skanda Puran 81,100 verses, Vaman Puran 10,000, Kurma Puran 17,000, Matsya Puran 14,000, Garud Puran 19,000, and Brahmanda Puran 12,000. Thus, the total number of verses in all the Puranas is 400,000. 18,000 of these once again belong to the beautiful Bhagavatam. It was Lord Brahma that the Supreme Personality of Godhead first revealed the Srimad Bhagavatam in full. At that time, Brahma, frightened by material existence, was sitting on the lotus flower that had grown from the Lord's navel. From beginning to end, the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of narrations that encourage renunciation of material life, as well as nectarian accounts of Lord Hari's transcendental pastimes, which give ecstasy to the saintly devotees and the demigods. The Bhagavatam is the essence of all the Vedanta philosophy because its subject matter is the absolute truth, which, while non-different from the spirit soul, is the ultimate reality, one without a second. The goal of this literature is exclusive devotional service unto the Supreme Truth. If on the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. All other Puranic scriptures shine forth in the assembly of saintly devotees. Only as long as that great ocean of nectar, Shrimad Bhagavatam, is not heard. That means when Bhagavatam is heard, Bhagavatam is like the sun, all others are like fireflies. Shrimad Bhagavatam is declared to be the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. So one who has felt satisfaction in its nectarian mellow will never be attracted to any other literature. Just as the Ganga is the greatest of all the rivers, Lord Achyuta, the supreme among the deities, and Lord Shambhu, Shiva, the greatest of the Vaishnavas. So the Bhagavatam is the greatest of all the Puranas. Amal Puran. O Brahmanas, in the same way that the city of Kashi is unexcelled among the holy places, Bhagavatam is supreme among all the Puranas. Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana. It is dear to the Vaishnavas because it describes the pure and the supreme knowledge of the Paramhamsas. The Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material work, together with the processes of transcendental knowledge, renunciation, and devotion. Anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated. I meditate upon that pure and spotless. So this was Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. Is that a verse? Yes. No. Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. Yeah, that only. Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Vairagya Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmayam Avishkritam Takshinvan Supathan Vicharena Paro Bhaktya Vimuchen Naraha. I meditate upon that pure and spotless Supreme Absolute Truth, who is free from suffering and death, and who in the beginning personally revealed this incomparable torchlight of knowledge to Brahma. Brahma then spoke it to the sage Narada, who narrated it to Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas. Srila Vyasa revealed this Bhagavatam to the greatest of the sages, Sukadev Goswami, and Sukadev mercifully spoke it to Parikshit Maharaj. We offer our obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vasudev, the all-pervading witness, who mercifully explained the science to Brahma when he anxiously desired salvation. I offer my humble obeisances to Srila Sukadev Goswami, the best of the mystic sages and a personal manifestation of the Absolute Truth. He saved Maharaj Parikshit, who was bitten by the snake of material existence. O Lord of the Lords, O Master, please grant us pure devotional service at your lotus feet, life after life. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord, Hari, the congregational chanting of whose holy names destroys all the sinful reactions, and the offering of obeisances unto whom relieves all material suffering. So Srimad Bhagavatam awards us renunciation. It awards us unlimited nectar of the glories of the Supreme Lord. This nectar is so intense that the nectar of all the Puranas fades off in front of it. And it awards us, yes, knowledge, devotion. So, yeah. So in that way, we see Bhagavatam is awarding us Krishna. Bhagavatam gives us, so when we accept Bhagavatam, we're actually accepting Krishna. But Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. Non-different from Krishna. Okay, so let's stop here for today. Hare Krishna. Grantaraj. Okay. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Bol.